Ada for telling my friend/colleague I'm looking for another job after she was promoted instead of me? Posted by you/resident_inside 285. I, 42 have been at my job for 8 months now, but I've known my manager, deputy manager, and another colleague for a few years. I worked with them for 2 years and left to go to my last job in 2019, where I stayed until last year. When I was talking to my manager while I was going for this job, I told him that I have ambition and I wanted to leave that job because I was working as well as a manager but not being paid or recognized for it. He said that this role would be restructured when people leave or retire this year, and basically, as he remembers how good a worker I was, I'd definitely be in consideration for a senior or managerial role. So, I've been there 8 months, passed my probation, and done really well. I have a colleague from my last place, 36F, who I worked with for the last 2 years, and we're actually good friends too. I also know her husband really well from back in the day. I actually approached her for the job and put in a good word for her. She's brilliant in her jobs, a very quick learner, and really proficient. And truth be told, she's been doing really well since she started in May. I've also been training her. Sod's law, though, that I left my last place because they refused to promote anyone and didn't want a manager, but as soon as I left, they promoted her and gave her a pay rise to try and keep her. I had last week off on annual leave, and when I came back this week, my manager took me to one side for a meeting on Monday. He told me he wanted me to know before anyone else that the restructure is now happening and they're creating a supervisor role, and my colleague is the one who's been offered the job. He knew I was gutted about it. I asked him why her, and he said basically that as good as I am, he thinks she would be better as a manager and has more qualities that suit it. Also, as she's technically been a senior in her last role, it looks better to higher-ups. I said I wasn't happy and that I want to be a manager one day. He said that I'm an amazing employee, probably the most reliable on my team and technically the most proficient, but he doesn't think I have the qualities to be a manager. I was just so deflated I zoned out for the rest of his spiel and went back to work afterwards. He announced it, and everyone was all happy for her and congratulating her. I basically was quiet. I messaged her later on about it, trying to joke around as we have that sort of humor. I was like, "Thanks a lot for nicking my job, mate. Really appreciate it." She was trying to be all sympathetic, saying, "No, I'm so sorry, I feel so bad. How do you feel?" I said basically that I'm going to look for another job, I don't think I can stay there after that. She was going like, "No, don't leave. Is it because of me?" I said yeah, basically, I'm done. She went, "Please don't, I'll need you now more than ever." I said you'll be fine, just don't get a job wherever I go and steal my promotion again, mate, lol. She didn't reply and left me on 2 blue ticks. I've been doing the bare minimum the rest of this week, especially on my working from home days. I've updated my CV and I'm applying for other jobs. She's tried to talk to me this week, and so have others. I feel like I just want to get out of there. Am I the jerk for being honest with her and looking for another job? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. The most reliable on my team and technically the most proficient, but doesn't think I have the qualities to be a manager. Okay, I think I see the problem. I'll need you now more than ever. Your colleague also sees the problem. You are too valuable in your current role to promote. Considering that, at worst, you've been doing your job well while acting as a trainer and recruiter, I'd want to keep you in that role as well. Reliability can be a curse. At your exit interview, name drop the manager who bluntly told you that you have no chance of advancement in the company. Not the jerk. Ops response. That's the problem. I'm seen as patient and reliable, so I always get given the task to train and mentor new people. And then those people get promoted ahead of me. Commenter 2. You're the jerk. Not for feeling bad about being overlooked for the promotion, but for how you reacted to your friend and coworker. She was not the one who made the decision, and she didn't sabotage or steal your promotion. Commenter 3. You're the jerk. Your colleague was better qualified for the role, it's not her fault that she was offered the opportunity and took it. Directly messaging her and threatening to quit because you didn't get a promotion is really childish, and honestly a bit cruel. Be a man and congratulate her. Maybe restructure your resume to showcase your leadership talents. Ops response. She annoys me, though, because she doesn't have to try to succeed. She's one of those sickeningly talented people who falls into roles without ever having to apply. I have to effing break my back just to get by. Commenter 4. Not the jerk. You were upfront about your ambitions, your boss dangled the possibility of promotion, and then handed it to someone else, someone you literally helped bring in and trained. That's a kick in the teeth. Your colleague isn't the villain here. She applied, she's good at her job, and management chose her. But your feelings are valid. It hurts to be told you're the most reliable and technically strong, but not management material. That's a polite way of saying they'll use you forever as the dependable worker bee but never reward you. You didn't sabotage her, you didn't make a scene, you made a couple of, slightly salty, jokes, and then decided to update your CV. That's just reality. If a company shows you they don't see you in leadership, believe them and move on. The only thing is, don't take it out on her. She didn't steal your promotion. Management never planned to give it to you. Ops response. Yeah, I don't think I have it in me to sabotage anyone on purpose. I think, though, I probably won't stay friends after this. I have too bad a taste in my mouth now. Downvoted commenter 5. Can I ask why your friendship is over? Ops response. I just feel like something has changed now. Like, if I'm being honest, I've trained her in 2 jobs, gave her my knowledge, and now she's going to be my boss. Just feels icky, and I don't see us remaining friends. Side post 1 day later. Op made a post in r/self that was titled, Found out this week how mediocre I truly am. For those reading, for context, I live in the UK. I come from a really working class, everyone on benefits background, chat basically. Practically none of my family have a university degree. There are even more of us who didn't finish compulsory education than those who did. I spent years following the same path, part-time job, lived in a council house, exploited benefits just to get by. But at one point in my early 30s, I decided I'd try and break the mold and make a go of it, so I decided to go into a field and give it my all. So I went into my profession now and have tried to work hard to progress. And for a good 8 years now, I thought I was doing well. All my bosses tell me I'm an amazing asset, best on my team, etc. I've even done the professional qualifications to succeed. I'm not earning loads, but enough to buy a house and have an upper working class/lower middle class life with my fiancée. I've wanted to be a manager and progress so much. But I was told this week I'll never be a manager. And my colleague, who's been in the profession just about 2 years, who I've trained twice, is going to get the promotion ahead of me. Now, she's the epitome of talented and middle class. Comes from a family of business owners and everyone has a degree. She doesn't even have to try on courses, she gets pass marks when not revising that I'd have to study years for. She was under me, now she'll be my boss. Yet another younger person to tell me what to do. It's made me realize how untalented and how mediocre I actually am. If you listen to all the feminists out there, I'd be the sort of person rewarded and promoted for it. Yet I'm not. I'm the one person who isn't and wishes I was. Even my hobbies. Karate? Least talented person in the room. Constantly have to be shown what to do. My mum drinking while pregnant gave me fetal alcohol syndrome, so I have really poor coordination. Running? Abysmal. I can't hack hills to save my life. My parents smoking all my life and while pregnant gave me the lungs of an 80-year-old. I stopped running months ago. Computer games? I'm awful at them. Can't play even basic ones everyone is good at. I have to play on beginner just to have a chance. I just feel like giving up. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Okay, I sympathize with your struggle because I also come from a poor background and have somewhat risen in social status, so I will offer some advice. If your company doesn't appreciate you, the solution is very simple: change companies. Sometimes workers are simply too good to promote because you do your job so well that if they promote you, then they have to replace you. Moving forward, I also do martial arts, not karate, but all the same in this context. Being the least talented person in the room means you are in the right room to learn. Just keep at it. Someone who kind of sucks is far superior to someone who quits. Anyways, good luck to ya. Second side post 2 days later. Op made a post in r/rant that was titled, No, I'm not going to do anything for people anymore because you wouldn't do it for me. This rant was sort of inspired by someone posting about a city where I live, and the op was complaining about random men talking to women when they didn't want to hear it. As usual, typical white knighting was aplenty in the comments, and one commenter in particular was saying that, as men, we need to call it out. Bad people don't, etc. And then I thought of when it happened to me. As a guy, I've been sexually harassed by women multiple times in public. And everyone around, including women, laughed. And when I told my friends and family, they laughed and said things like, stop complaining, take it as a compliment. So now, F it. I'm not going to speak out. Not going to defend any random woman. I'm going to be like everyone else and just look away. Because when I needed it, no one was there for me. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Let me get this straight, men who say we should call out sexist behavior are white knighting, but for you, people should have stood up and it would have been different? You say you won't do it anymore, but to me, it sounds like you never ever saw the point in doing it and are absolutely shocked to your core that others don't do it for you. Like. Obviously, it is different when you get harassed, and standing up for you wouldn't be white knighting. Op's response. When I was 11, I jumped in and punched another lad for hitting a girl. I got threatened by him and his harder cousin to be jumped at some point. Later on in life, the same woman still rants on her social media about men and how crap we all are. Then when I was 15, I was tired of this one older woman teacher treating boys worse than the girls, so I tried to do something about it. I got told off by other teachers and this horrible other teacher in front of everyone, who proceeded to treat me like crap even into adulthood whenever I saw her. I also tried to stop a younger woman from getting harassed by a guy. She proceeded to absolutely rip into me, and everyone else did too. My dad was also threatened with violence when he tried to stop a neighbor from getting battered by her boyfriend. Everyone told him he was a fool for doing so. So yeah, I was the type of person who definitely would have intervened. But because I've discovered not only would people not do it for me, people laugh at me for going through it. Update 4 days later. Okay, so before my update, just to clarify, mainly regarding the way I reacted to my colleague who was promoted and the criticism, I shouldn't have taken it out on her, and I was unprofessional in the way I acted. Yep, 100% I will own that I probably was unprofessional. But in my defense, one of the reasons I accepted this job was because I told my manager I was leaving my last place because they kept on promising me promotion and then it never happened, and he did say I would be in contention for a senior role there. And then I've trained her twice, only for her to now be my boss and for me to have to report to her and have her tell me what to do. It's happened before to me, and it never ends well. The promoted person always treats you like crap and lets it go to their head. So now for the actual update. Manager took me to one side for a meeting on Tuesday, as people have said to him they've seen how down I am and that I'm not my usual self. As it was after our last meeting, he wanted to see how I feel now. I basically told him I feel hurt, that if I had known, I wouldn't have left my last place and definitely wouldn't have recruited my old colleague in. He said it was a professional decision and that it had nothing to do with me as a person, and he gave me some feedback, that she's calm under pressure, doesn't make the little errors I sometimes do when I'm stressed, doesn't take criticism personally, and doesn't get angry when people are angry with her, whereas I need to work on those last 2 points. He said to give my promoted colleague my support, learn from her, etc. I personally don't agree and think I could train those things and was pretty annoyed by the last learn from her spiel bit, but I just bit my tongue. Also, he said as her last role was senior on her CV, it's far easier to make someone a manager when they've done it on paper when he's talking to his managers. He stressed again that I'm an amazing asset, still the best worker in the team, and that my technical and legislative knowledge is the best and my data analysis skills are very powerful. The reports I create are very helpful, especially for his bosses, and they notice how valuable my skills are and still mention to him how good this report I made for him bespoke not long after I joined the company was. That just because I'm not a manager, I'm in no way less important. I said like that's all well and good, but that isn't going to give me the pay rise I want, the satisfaction that I've reached my own personal and professional goals, is it? He said maybe I shouldn't see being a manager as the be-all and end-all, and maybe look up a technical role and do the other level 4 technical qualification instead of the manager course that develops my knowledge and technical skills to be even better at my job. He said hardly anyone goes that route and I definitely should and be the technician of the team, the one everyone asks for advice, and develop our procedures of the department more. And that maybe yes, at the moment it wouldn't increase my salary for the time being, but being qualified in that way and having that role on an unofficial basis, he could take my case to his bosses and argue that it should be an actual official role in the department created just for me that is a senior role and I should be paid more on par with a manager because I'm worth it, but not have to worry about managing people. And failing that, if it doesn't happen, one of his long-term goals is to increase our importance in the company hierarchy and increase our personal grades and salary bands, so eventually it won't matter that I'm not a manager, as we'll all be paid well. So yes, it won't happen overnight and won't be imminent, but he'll do his best. He said to think about it, don't do anything rash, give 100%, and we'll discuss it in my annual appraisal in 3 months' time. So in a nutshell, he didn't say this, I'm summarizing, she's better than me, be her lackey, and I won't be promoted, but keep on working hard to make everyone else look good in the vague hope big bosses eventually give me a pay rise. This could take years, the course is a year minimum, and then I have to stay there 2 years so I don't have to pay the course back, so I'll be in my mid-40s then, which is really too old to be getting a first-time manager gig in my profession. I was pretty down after that and have just kept to myself. I've not slacked, but haven't busted my arse either. She, promoted colleague, messaged me and asked me if we could go for a dinner-time walk Wednesday to clear the air and talk. I told her I'd rather not, that I just want to think for a bit and haven't got anything to say, so she respected it and has left me alone and said to talk when I'm ready. I'm sick of talking things out with people like this, I just want to think for myself for a bit without anyone trying to convince me of crap that suits them or make me feel okay. They only ever talk at you, but never listen to you. I've put my CV out there to a few places. I got a message quite quickly from an old client that I dealt with in my last job asking if I want to talk about a senior role at their company and my profession, so I had a Teams chat earlier and it went well. They'll let me know if it's going to go to a formal interview soon. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I think this is a case where there is a bit of truth on both sides. Someone has to actually make the sausage, and you have shown your value in that. It is far more difficult to find or replace those individuals. Also, You showed and communicated your emotions in a much too temperamental way directly with others you work with, especially for a potential management individual. Effectively, you have probably reached as high as you are going to go at your current place of employment. I do not think you are wrong in assuming it will take multiple years to possibly promote up. Commenter 2. I just leave the company. If you get another offer, go there because where you are is clearly not making you happy. Doesn't matter if they claim you're valuable. If you're not happy there, it's not worth staying. Commenter 3. While the level 4 qualification isn't a bad idea, it does, as you say, tie you to the company for at least 3 years with no promise of higher pay. This has happened to my daughter a couple of times. The problem is, you are too good at what you do. You're available to do the reports you do at a much higher standard than anyone else. You obviously are also good at training others. Sadly, the truth is you are more valuable to the company in the post you currently hold. I hope your recent chat with the previous client works out for you. If not, start looking. Be honest that you're looking as you wish to further your career, be polite to everyone, do your job well, but stop going above and beyond. By the way, regarding your CV, you can include a more senior role since you have been called on to train new employees. It's how you word things that makes the difference. I'm sorry this has happened to you. It has to be one of the most dishonest ways companies treat their employees. If they want or need you in your current role for all the reasons they say, they should reward you financially for that. Companies always say they value loyalty, yet they are rarely loyal to their employees. Let us know if a position transpires from your recent chat with the previous client. Good luck, Op. You deserve better. Third side post 1 day later. Op made a post in our /guy cry that was titled, "If I didn't have my fiancé, I'd have ended it after the fortnight I've had." Basically, I started my fortnight by being told I'm not getting promoted because the woman I've trained twice in my career is now going to be my boss. Then I was told to work even harder for no guarantee of extra pay. Then I was spoken to like crap by everyone in my company because we're in the firing line in my department. I'm crap at every hobby I do. Video games, I have to play on very easy. My karate, I was the only one sensei didn't say was going to go in grade by the end of the year. I always have to be taken to one side and have it explained how to do something, and I still fail because my dyspraxic arse can't even grasp basic direction and struggles with even left to right. My mum uses me like an emotional tampon and complains about life and cries to me on a daily basis. I'm her unofficial therapist. I've been harassed and sexually assaulted by women so much, I feel like I deserve it. And people laugh when I tell them. Or say I'm not manly enough because I don't enjoy it. Honestly, I often feel like I want to end it all. But the thought of my fiancé finding me and crying stops me. If I didn't have her, I wouldn't have anything to stop me. And that scares me. Edited to add, I'm in tears again for the second time this week. Effing just end me now. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Just read your other post, and I just want to say that your manager is wrong. You're in charge of onboarding and training new employees, like the one who just got promoted, yet you're not leadership material? Don't listen to people in our /ADA who think you're whiny. You've been used by the company for years, and they want you to keep being your best without a solid promise of a pay rise. You deserve better. Second update 6 days later. Thanks to everyone who took the time out to reply to my previous 2 posts, by the way. Really appreciate it. First and foremost, I didn't get that job. Got a call from my old client contact to say they're going to try and cope with the resources they have in-house for the foreseeable future and see if it's a success. But he stressed they thought I was great, I'm the sort of person they'd recruit if they were going to recruit, so he said he'd keep my CV and details on file. If it doesn't work 6 to 12 months from now, I'd be first on the list for an interview. I personally think it's all a load of bollocks and I'll never hear from him again, so if I do, I'll eat my own arse. I've also been applying for more jobs. 1. A recruitment agent rang me about and it seemed promising, but as typical UK recruitment agent BS, they then contacted me back not long after saying they didn't go for me. They said they'd keep my details on file, get in contact if there's anything suitable, etc., etc. Everything else is no good, either for less money or, if it is okay, too far away in the country to even commute realistically. But I'm keeping my eyes open and am very selective. I've checked out at work now and I'm doing the basics. I've had enough now, just don't want to be here anymore. I'm doing the minimum this week and also doing my contracted hours, getting in on time, leaving on time, having my exact lunch break, and not eating at my desk. People keep on asking me if I'm okay. I've just said yeah, I'm fine. Also, they're asking for my usual dad jokes, as it's been a couple of weeks, and I've said I don't have any. Our department deputy manager, Big Boss's deputy, not the recently promoted colleague, came back from holiday Monday and was talking to us all. They mentioned this work experience person who's coming in next month, and she said the plan was for her to sit with me for the time she's with us and get me to show her things, train her, etc. I said no, I don't think I'm comfortable with it and to get her to sit with someone else. She said why, and I said to chat with our manager / newly promoted colleague about it. She just went quiet and I didn't hear any more. The manager has been working from home, so I haven't seen him. Also, we've been taking in some different work from the whole restructuring thing, and there's this one task / procedure we're going to have to do. A few people in my team were talking about it, including the promoted colleague. Instantly, I knew the sorts of things we should do: create a new database / spreadsheet, get IT to write particular codes, write this sort of report to use, and have people check in a certain way. But I kept quiet. Didn't say anything. Someone asked me, "What do you think? This is right up your alley, this?" I just said no idea, I think management should look at it. Which kind of ended my input in the conversation. Promoted colleague is now starting to train with the deputy in the tasks that she's going to take over from her and the manager in the restructure. Also, she's been included in the team's manager's calls and meetings. And I've seen it all in front of me. Feels like rubbing salt into the wound. I also didn't go to the celebratory meal that was held to celebrate the promoted colleague's promotion last night. The deputy manager and another colleague who's been on holiday too decided to book something as soon as they heard about the promotion and said we need an excuse to do something social. I said no, it's my karate class and I'm not missing a lesson. People were going, "No, come, don't be a Grinch, you can miss a lesson, mate," and weren't really giving me an opportunity to say no. So I said I'll see what I can do, and were at me all week, and then I just didn't turn up. I had a few WhatsApp messages in the workgroup chat and texts, but I said sorry, can't leave my class early. I just guarantee they'd be beaching about me, lol. It's my WFH day today myself and I've not heard from anyone this morning yet, not even to ask me any questions. I think people are catching on now. I dare say when I'm back in next week and the manager is in the office, I'll probably be having a sit down with him and the deputy and have another chat. Look forward to it, not, lol. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Man, I totally understand. That was two people who were supposed to be on your side who treated you like you were disposable, and now everyone's expecting you to eat crap and like it. Don't do anything so bad that it might affect you getting a better spot somewhere better, but I don't blame you at all for checking out. Good luck. Oh, and that effing weasel trying to gaslight you into doing extra work for some other fictional promotion is just the crappy cherry on the turd cake, also. Commenter 2. I read all your posts on this issue, and I mean this with so much empathy, you should go to therapy. The small issues holding you back aren't so small. If you can master yourself a bit more, then you'll definitely get promoted. If not here, then somewhere else. Soft skills matter a ton in management, and it sounds like you might be a little petty as a manager. That would damage your team morale significantly. It sounds like when you get into interpersonal conflicts, you get defensive rather than solution-oriented. Your bosses don't want drama, they want solutions. Commenter 3. While you're right about soft skills and interpersonal skills for management positions, I think his own managers have 100% failed at managing him. It happens all the time. The best technician is not perceived as the best potential manager, but you can't expect him to keep being the best, go above and beyond, and yet pay him the same as all the mediocre same-level employees and not reward him. Of course he's going to get frustrated, and eventually check out, especially if it seems you keep failing your word on promoting him. Managers are supposed to get the best out of each individual in their team, knowing some will always give more or better than others, and not all have the same experience, skills, and so on. Ops manager cannot realistically believe that just these pats on the back he's been getting are enough to keep him motivated if indeed his performance is that much of an outlier. Though that could be false flattery on this, it doesn't seem to be the case here. That's not even considering that we know Op trained is now manager, and everyone seems to recognize him as being more knowledgeable and experienced technically, and that's a recipe for disaster. Sure, he might be lacking leadership skills, but it seems the company provides training for those to new managers. If the senior managers had promoted him, they'd have had the best technical brain at the lead of the team. Giving him the promotion would have motivated him to keep giving his best and more for the company, and he could be trained and guided by his own seniors to become better at managing and being a leader. Although those seniors, to me, don't seem to be very efficient managers themselves. Commenter 4. The manager he is now is a great manager, and Op is too short-sighted to realize it. The manager explained to him exactly why he wasn't promoted to manager and gave him specific issues to work on, essentially giving him a roadmap for improvement. Op took it as an insult. The manager also gave specific compliments on his technical skills and tried to lay out a picture of how honing those technical skills could make him an irreplaceable team member and, potentially, provide a path to advancement as a technical specialist. Op just saw it as trying to get more work out of him. Op is now sulking around the office to the extent that other folks are noticing it. And, based on the fact that management has someone they would like trained on Op's skill set, management has decided he's likely not a long-term part of the plan for the team or office. This isn't a bad manager situation. Op didn't get promoted at his previous office, and he's handled this situation about as poorly as one can. It's not surprising that management doesn't see him as a terribly valuable long-term part of the team due to poor social or soft skills. It's also telling that other employers aren't jumping at him either, as he's likely maxed out his current skill set, sans additional training, and he doesn't have the connections to jump to a more senior position elsewhere. Op is a classic example of someone who is a good, or even great, technical worker but doesn't have the soft skills required for management or other positions that include a significant amount of non-technical responsibilities. I get why he's frustrated, but he's too focused on getting the brass ring to listen when folks tell him why he's not getting it. Op just doesn't recognize that he's the problem in the situation. Op's response. The manager also gave specific compliments on his technical skills and tried to lay out a picture of how honing those technical skills could make him an irreplaceable team member and, potentially, provide a path to advancement as a technical specialist. Op just saw it as trying to get more work out of him. Because it is more extra work for nothing guaranteed. There's no guarantee it will lead to a definite promotion, pay rise, or change in role. My manager even said that himself. Just a vague promise. I've been around too long now to know that unless you have something in front of you, signed and guaranteed, it basically won't happen. Commenter 5. Sure, but you are guaranteeing yourself a bad go now. This job is basically ruined. You will never be a manager because you've shown how ill-suited to a management position you are, and then double down on it again. Additionally, you have burnt at least 3 bridges, the 2 contacts that got you this job, the woman that you referred who you know has strong future prospects, and everyone else on your team. Not everyone should manage people. You should probably spend some time deciding if that's actually a role you want. Do you want to do what that job actually entails, or do you just want to be promoted? If you decide you do want that, then you are going to have to take a real look in the mirror. A manager needs to have interpersonal skills you are not demonstrating. But if you want this, then you can learn and improve, so you may have the opportunity at your next job. Therapy might be helpful to control your emotional reactions. As a manager, your mood cannot impact your team like this, and yours is so much that it sounds like multiple people at every level have let you know it has. That means there are a lot more who won't speak up and say it out loud. I'm not trying to tear you down. I used to be a people manager, and I've seen all too many times how someone promoted to a manager position with traits like this, that they can't and won't control, will ruin an entire team. No good employer will promote someone so volatile. Op's response. I basically want what gets me more money and satisfaction. My level and salary just don't do it, sadly. Our profession only pays well at the senior or managerial level. So if that's a manager, that's what I want to do. My mood is only impacting the team because they're all expecting me to jump for joy and be happy with this person when I'm miserable and want to effing jump. Like, why would I crack my dad jokes and make them all laugh when I don't feel like it? Or why would I sacrifice my hobby for one night for a night out to celebrate her success? It feels like there's a lack of emotional awareness on everyone's part, not just mine. Fourth side post 1 day later. Op made a post in our /guy cry that was titled, "Started harming myself last night. My situation at work has gotten worse. I'm still useless at everything, and everyone can see it now. So I've started treating myself like I deserve. The other day, I burnt myself on the oven, and as much as it hurt, I thought I deserved the pain. Yesterday, I was cooking my lunch and I pressed my arm on the oven. Then, when I was cooking dinner later for me and my fiancée, I did the same. So I've now got 2 decent burns on my arm. I have no inclination to stop. I'll stop doing it when I'm not useless. Which will be never." Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Please get therapy. This is worrying. Op's downvoted response. Therapy is useless, honestly. It's the equivalent of not getting a girlfriend, then seeing an escape RT. They act like they care, but they're just doing it for the money. Commenter 2. Don't be an idiot. You are obviously depressed, and trust me when I say, as someone who has been through it myself, talking to someone will help you see the trees instead of the wood. Commenter 3. Brother, listen. You are not useless. What you are is distracted. Your head is filled with self-deprecating thoughts. You had some stuff go wrong at work, passed up for a promotion. These things add a voice in our head because we need to understand why it's happening, and for lack of something to point a finger at, we decide it's us. We're doing it wrong. That plants a whisper in your mind that starts causing you to be overly critical of everything we do. We get very distracted and end up making more little mistakes. Then the whisper gets louder. It's talking now. I'm obviously a screw-up. You keep listening, staying unfocused, and make more mistakes. That voice is yelling now. I am the worst. No, man. You're not. You're discouraged. You're distracted. You can turn it around. Stop listening to that voice. Point of fact, businesses are cold, calculating entities. They make decisions on profit and politics. Businesses promote based on optics and on who's friendliest with the boss. I've watched the best possible people get passed over for many things. Racial bias, sexual orientation, gender, So they can say they are diverse and check off boxes. Sometimes actual racism, sexism, or just because the boss doesn't like how someone dresses. What I'm saying is, don't take getting passed over as personal. Companies do not care about people. Maybe it's time to build a new resume and shop around for a new job, quietly. Get your confidence back. You can do this, brother. Third update 2 days later. I wasn't expecting to update so soon, but today was quite unexpected. I got into work and my manager/deputy asked to see me in the office. I went in and they had this printout on the desk and asked me to read it. It was my posts, including the one about the self-harm, which has been shared elsewhere, and they asked me if I could confirm if it's me. I was so shocked I didn't know what to say, which definitely isn't like me, so I just didn't say anything. The deputy asked if they could see my arms, and I just didn't have any motivation to refuse, so I showed them. They were really shocked, and my manager was just like, "Bloody hell, mate," looking at my burns. I asked how they knew, and they said my promoted colleague saw it on social media, so she told them as she was really concerned. He said if he hadn't seen the posts, he'd be having a very different conversation with me. But he said they can't ignore it anymore, and they just want to help me now. He said they'll write last week off and start again, but I need to help myself now and seek help. He said he's arranged for me to have a meeting with our employee assistance program this week, and it's non-negotiable now. I said it doesn't matter though, my career is effed, isn't it, and I'll never progress, and he said I really shouldn't be worrying about that for now. But he stressed he's still very serious about the technical role and has spoken to his boss about it. If I can demonstrate I'm serious about it and do the course, it definitely could happen. It's not just a fob off. But I definitely need to concentrate on my mental health for now, as it's far more important than money. My deputy tried to talk to me and just said, "This reminded me of my dad when I read it, it's really upset me," and couldn't talk anymore and looked like she was going to cry a bit, so she let the manager carry on. He said to me he's not just my boss, he's my friend, and he really doesn't want to see me struggle, so he really wants to help. We've agreed I can take the week off. I'll use some annual leave so I can clear my head. He'll tell the team whatever I want. I said I don't mind them knowing the truth, that I'm not doing so well, as it's pointless to lie. We shook hands, and that was it. Later on, his boss took me to one side, as he's in the office today, and he basically asked me how I am. I said not so good. He said he knows I can do it, and he showed me his wrists. He's got scars, and he said he was in a bad way years ago, so he knows how it is, and I can talk to him anytime. I messaged my promoted colleague and said, "Thank you, I really appreciate it." She just sent me a smiling emoji back. This is likely to be my last post about this, at least for a while. My boss said he thinks I should try and stay offline for a bit, and I do agree. Thanks again, all, for just taking the time again. Really do appreciate it. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. My heart hurts for you, op, but maybe this break is what you really need. It sucks when things you want to happen don't happen, and sometimes people don't see that some of the things they say add more salt than they think. I don't know if you have any hobbies or such, but try to do the most relaxing thing you can think of, or go hang out with friends. Try to think of this as more of a vacation. Commenter 2. Honestly, op, I still think you'd be better off elsewhere. No matter what they say, these people are not your friends. They're on their side. Always remember that. I understand completely how resentment can build and ruin your mental health in a workplace, and once that taint is there, it will be very hard for you to get to a healthy place. Everything will be fine until the next person gets promoted over you, or the manager berates you over something small, and it will trigger you all over again. At the end of the day, it's just a job, but that's easy to lose sight of when you're emotionally vulnerable and you feel stuck and taken advantage of. You spend more time in this environment than you do elsewhere, so a job takes up a lot of your mental space. Do yourself a favor and keep looking for new shores. A fresh environment will clear all this toxicity out of your life. I was in a similar situation as you, and staying on just prolonged my misery. I stayed for the money, but the money didn't make up for the emotional toll it took on me. Commenter 3. This comment will likely be buried, but I read all the posts you've provided on this thread. I just want to say, as someone who strived for management for years, I understand how you feel. I didn't understand why others were promoted over me, and I was constantly being told, "You're a good worker," but, well, eventually I got my management role, and I effing hated it. It had less to do with work and more to do with managing interpersonal conflicts. It was like parenting a bunch of toddlers, grown-ass adults acting like children. The drama over nothing was exhausting. It drained me emotionally and mentally. I'm much happier in a lower role. I do think if your manager is able to create and give you that technical role, it'll be better for you. I say this because, from your posts, I don't think you'd do well managing people, but would do better streamlining and creating implementation of procedures. That way, you have that nice title but don't have to deal with the BS that comes from managing people. Either way, I hope you keep your head up and your arms uncut.